racism, man. Now we've got our first guest today is Wershe Jr. and some of you know him as White Boy Rick. And Rick has started. Rick served more than 32 years in prison. He's out now. He started a cannabis company called The Eighth by White Boy Rick, and we'll have him explain what the origin of that is. So, Rick, welcome.
How you guys doing this morning?
Good.
How are you? Yeah. And thank you for taking time out to talk with us.
Yeah. So Rick, so you've started this cannabis. It's a new field. Tell us about how do you get started in the cannabis business and how competitive? It seems like everywhere we're seeing cannabis out there. How did you get started? How do you start a cannabis business?
I mean, for me, Alan, I had a lot of time before I got out, so I read a lot about it. I looked at the benefits of it as opposed to opioids. So I did a lot of research before I got out, a lot of, reading and writing about it. And I wrote to some people, I talked to some people, and I just thought it was a good field for me to go into. I'm not a regular 9-to-5 person, as you a long time. I really don't want to sit behind a desk and work a regular job. So kind of right up my alley, and I can do a lot of good things to the community.
Are you a wholesaler? Are you distribute it?
I have a brand and I distribute to about 180 stores.
And just in Michigan or all around the country?
I just launched in Massachusetts.
Okay. And let me tell you, obviously the White Boy. There's two movies out there. There's a documentary, and then there's the movie. So, but
I've still never watched the movie.
You've never watched it.
Oh wow!
And the movie's not so great. The documentary is pretty.
Ask you this,
the
but
documentary.
Did they consult with you when they did the movie?
They consulted with me for a long time, and they actually. The guy that I worked probably 300 hours with, Scott Silver, a dear friend of mine now, and he's the biggest writer in Hollywood now. He's actually wrapping up Joker 2, and a little bit later we'll talk about the documentary that I'm working on now. But he's the biggest writer in Hollywood, and he signed on to produce my second documentary, so I'm excited about that.
Let me ask you the White Boy Rick name. When you were in prison, some people complained. They said, don't call him White Boy Rick because it's making him sound more notorious, more better known. And now you're using it as it's a great brand name. How do you feel about the name itself?
Listen, of course, like when I meet people, even, down here in Florida, I meet people and they're like, oh, White Boy Rick. But of course, my friends don't call me White Boy Rick. They call me Rick.
Right.
So, it's something that I suffered from I believe, for 3 decades. So now if I can use it as a platform and use it to make some money and do good things at the same time, I don't have a problem with it.
And you were never out on the streets, you weren't referred to as White Boy Rick. Was that the media gave you that name, or law enforcement, or?
Alan, you were in the media, so we all know who gave me the name, and
right.
Okay.
It was for hype. They were persecuting all these, young African-American kids and young adults. And they made me the poster child to say, see, we do it to white people too.
Right.
Yeah, they sure did. What would you tell these young folks that's growing up and thinking that they so slick that they can, get away with the bullshit that they doing in Detroit? It seems, and I came from the media too, it seems 20, 30, 40 years ago, there were some rules that the drug folks I know and people that was on the street, and they had some rules. They didn't shoot up houses. They didn't kill little kids. How do we stop a lot of this violence? You serve more than your share of time. How can you talk to some of these folks?
I work with this group called Team Wellness out of Detroit, and it's a mental health facility.
Yeah, I'm very familiar. Yep.
Fully integrated healthcare system. We don't turn away anyone. I'm very passionate about working with them. The CEO gave me a great opportunity. 30 days after I was home, he hired me. So we're now taking on, I think they're going to give us half of the juveniles out of Wayne County that are locked up. So, you can't take these kids and put them in a cage at 11 and 12 and 13 years old and let them out and expect them to be normal. It's not going to happen. You don't lock a child in a cell for 23 hours a day and let him out and think that he's going to function normal in society. And you're going to turn him into an animal. And that's what they're doing with our youth today. Yeah. There's no, this year, I love the city. I love the people. I don't always love the people that run it. I know that's not the political thing to say. I know they're trying to do their best job, but I'll give you an example. At the holidays, I give bigger kids gifts because everybody does Toys for Tots. So a couple years ago, we started giving out sneakers to the bigger kids, the kids that are our size, that need a 10, an 11, a 12, a 13. So this year I said, I want to give every kid that's locked up in the youth home a pair of sneakers. And my brother, Danny Harani, who does so much in the city and so much, he did 30 years in prison, was released because of the Second Chance Act. And I believe Judge Gerald Rosen released him for getting an education. And I think Danny has 3 or 4 degrees. Forgive me if he might have more. But we're still waiting for Wayne County to call us back. And Macomb County did theirs in 1 day.
Right. Well, I do a lot of work in Wayne County. So, Rick, I know exactly what you're talking about. Just to pivot a bit, did you find it ironic? You said when you got out, you were presented with this opportunity to get into the marijuana business. Do you find it ironic? It's probably, I'm probably minimizing it. Do you find it ironic that the same thing that what you were accused of doing, now you can make a legal living doing, selling, drugs, basically? How did that make you feel?
Well, marijuana, cannabis is not a drug. It's okay. So I consider drugs opioids, and I did an article yesterday with Benzinga. Benzinga is one of the largest cannabis conferences that go on in America.
Sure.
And for the next 3 days at it, coming up here in Miami. So cannabis can do so many good things in the world that people don't know about or are, illiterate to, that if they just looked at it. And there's a reason these pharmaceutical companies are trying to break into the cannabis industry, because they know that it's coming and that it can be used. You don't need like all these opioids that hurt people. We have an epidemic in the country because of these pharmaceutical companies. And people say, oh, you say this, but for me, a pharmaceutical company is nothing but a drug cartel operating in America.
Right. Legally.
I agree with you.
Rick, go ahead.
5 days ago, my partner, a good friend of his, got out of prison. I think 6 or 8 months ago, he was released. Forgive me, Gus, if I'm wrong, but it's, and they buried him 4 days ago, from a fentanyl overdose. He was released from prison. He didn't get any treatment for drug addiction. They made him do his time. They threw him back out on the streets. He had opportunity, but drugs got the better of him. And we go from one crisis to another with these these drug companies. First, they created Oxycontin or oxycodone. Don't ask me for the life of me why we ever needed something that strong. That created an epidemic. Now they created this fucking fentanyl, and I know it's being made illegally now and brought over, but Why did they create it in the first place? As society, we existed forever without oxycodone, without fentanyl. Now the government's allowing them to make these super powerful painkillers that are, they essentially are, they kill people.
Rick, let me ask you how, in terms of your business now, how competitive is it out there, and how do you keep the edge and stay in the game with your company? What does it take?
Cannabis space itself is oversaturated, especially in Michigan. We gave out too many licenses. We gave out, I think it wasn't handled right from the beginning. I think the governor's trying to correct it now. And it's a good space. You can do a lot of good. For me, I think my name in Michigan helps a lot. My brand helps a lot. And the meaning behind my brand and giving back from my brand helps a lot.
Do you have a grow license or just a packaging license, or how does that work?
I work through, I have a couple of partners that MKX Oil Company and Exclusive had the first license in the state of Michigan. So they've partnered with me to expand my line. And I have a full line now of I actually have flowers, pre-rolls, live resin vapes, disposable vapes, and gummies. So for me, Alan, I could show you on Instagram where I get messages from 70-year-old or 75-year-old ladies that have cancer, and they tell me how amazing my gummies are and what they do for them. And it makes me feel so good that I send the message, and it makes my day when I read that.
Right. And now you also have some merchandise. I went on your website. You have hats and T-shirts and all that stuff. The name of your website is it's the eighth by White Boy Rick, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you're also working on when you got out of prison, you started working on a documentary. How did that start, and where's that going? What do you?
We started filming the day I walked out. Before there ever was a BMF series, before there was anything, I believe I wore the Free Big Meat shirt because I didn't believe that he deserved a 30-year sentence for a nonviolent drug crime.
Right.
So then I got involved in that. I appeared in the BMF documentary, Blowing Money Fast. And we filmed a week when I got out. We filmed a week a year later. We just filmed some more. And as I said, Scott Silver has signed on to produce. So I think we'll do good. I think it'll be a real interesting series. It'll show, I want to show people that after 30 years or 3 decades or more in prison, that you can still have a life, you can still do good things, and you can do positive things.
Okay.
So, Rick, you said the documentary, is it going to be a series? And if so, is the plan to have it on one of these platforms like Stars or Netflix or something like that?
Our plan is, with the success, Netflix just bought the old documentary again for 2 years. A few weeks back, it was trending at number 5. So they see the success of the old one. So we're hoping to land somewhere on a Netflix.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back, Rick, if you can wait a minute, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay.
Yep.
All right. You want to roll?
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. There are payment plans available to help save your property. Visit our website at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com for further information.
Homeownership opportunities are rising in the city of Detroit, and there's a house out there that's right for you and your family. You don't even have to worry about credit or getting a loan. You can win a house for as little as $1,000 and pay for the renovation cost as you go. It all starts at buildingdetroit.org and the Detroit Land Bank Authority. Our auction and Own It Now programs offer a variety of houses and neighborhoods all over the city of Detroit. These homes are in desperate need of repair and new ownership. You can begin by going to our interactive map and detailed property listings to find the right fit for you. It won't be easy, and renovation costs are not cheap, but our compliance team is there every step of the way. We will help you track your progress and connect you with local discounts to save you more money. We have already sold more than 15,000 homes in the city of Detroit, and our inventory is shrinking fast, so you don't want to miss out on this wonderful opportunity. Start your home buying journey today by visiting buildingdetroit.org.
Hey, Rick. We have a couple more questions. One is, can you explain to everyone the meaning of the eighth? Why the eighth?
The eighth is the ban on cruel and unusual punishment. It's your Eighth Amendment. On every bag and everything I sell, the Eighth Amendment is printed. Hold on, I'll grab one real quick.
Okay.
Hold on one sec.
Okay.
Yep, no problem there. So
yeah, I have a question. Somebody text me about opium. Say it's a plant.
Oh, yeah.
It's not,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're back there, but we're gonna talk to Rick a little bit and wrap this up. There you go, Rick.
Well, dude, so this is a bag of my gummies.
Uh-huh.
And see on the back, I don't know if you can see that, the Eighth Amendment's printed.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So,
interesting.
back of every bag, the Eighth Amendment is there as a learning tool. I also have a little swag, mate. A couple shot glasses, a few things. And right now, Alan, if people go into stores just to give back to someone, I hope someone in the city wins it, but I did kind of a Willy Wonka thing, and this is an advertisement. So there's specially marked Rolex bags, and I'm giving away my personal Rolex in the bag. So
okay, very cool.
You flip it around, and there's a golden ticket, kind of like Willy Wonka.
Uh-huh.
Well, let me ask you this question, Rick. I smoked weed 30, 40 years ago. I just can't get into it today because I don't like the smell. What's the difference? Is your brand as good or what? And I don't want to eat anything that
you don't want any gummies?
No, I don't want that. I like the stuff that I used to smoke in the day. Listen, the thing now is there's more science behind growing. There's the terpenes, the THC. Like when we were kids, we really didn't know what we were smoking shit that was coming across a border from Colombia or Mexico.
Right.
It was outdoor weed. Now, you have these boutiques that grow some indoor. Listen, I don't really smoke. I smoke on occasion. And I'll tell you this, there's some joints that I've hit one or two times and I don't want that. I don't want that. A couple of times I was on my buddy's boat and I told him, I said, man, I'm drunk as fuck. And he looked at me, he goes, bro, you ain't drunk.
Right.
And it's, so you have to find, there's everybody runs in the store and they go, oh, give me the highest THC.
Oh, no.
It's really not what you want. Those are people that for the most part, they don't know about the terpenes and this and that. So if you find something that's, if you just want a mellow high and you find something that's a hybrid that's like 18 to 20% THC and that it tastes good and that it smells good, I think that's more of what we used to smoke back in the day.
Right.
Higher quality, but a much better weed.
Well, I want our listeners saying that opium is a plant.
Opium's a plant that has to be refined into a drug.
Yeah.
Like cocoa's a plant. It has to be refined into cocaine. You have to.
Right.
Well, anyway, man, Rick, we really enjoyed the interview today, and thanks for taking time out.
Right, and I just want to tell anyone who's interested, it's the 8th by White Boy Rick. That's the name of the website. The product, if you go to the site, you can find retailers where you can buy Rick's product there. So Rick, thanks so much.
Rick, before you leave, I'm going to ask you to do us a favor. Go on our web, make sure your people look at Detroit in Black and White every Saturday at 10 o'clock. Go on our YouTube page, like, subscribe, share, and notify. Okay?
I'll put our social media guy on it. I'm not the most savvy. I can get through things, but
yeah, most people aren't. Most people are. But thanks a lot, Rick. We really appreciate it. Good luck with,
thanks.
Yeah, good luck with the business. And like I say, anybody who wants, it's the 8th by White Boy Rick. That's the name of the website, and you can find products, including merchandise like the T-shirt that Rick is currently wearing. So,
or you go get a White Boy Rick grilled cheese at Mongo's.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You know, that's his brother.
I know that. So shout out. I tell him, I said thank you. You don't know how many pictures and emails, and even while I was in prison, people would tell me, "Hey, they got a sandwich named after you."
That's funny. So, all right. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Thanks so much.